Hey there! Today we're going to be talking about this pen. It was sent to me by Carlo from Ensso Pens, and this is a very attractive pen. It's not really in focus, is it? This is a very attractive pen, and that's because it's made by, well, it's made by Ensso, but the material is made by Jonathan Brooks of the Carolina Pen Company, and he does some really nice stuff with his acrylics. This is primary manipulation 4. The primary manipulation material is really sought after. I know that Leonardo made some pens out of it, and now we have an Ensso pen out of it. And when I saw it, I thought to myself, this is a bit of a deviation from the typical pens that Ensso makes. Usually they're metal or they have some Japanese ebonite, but this is really colorful and a little bit of a deviation from what they typically do. That's not a bad thing. I'm just saying I thought it was a very interesting thing. You do kind of have to keep reinventing yourself, I think, to be a successful company. This is the Piuma model, so from that perspective not much has changed. The shape is there, everything is there, but the material is very nice. So first of all, if you like one, Ensso gave me a discount code, which is Holidays 2022. I wanted to make sure, suddenly I thought it was holiday. No, it is Holidays 2022. I'll put it in the description. So if you want one, you can get a 20% discount, and I would hurry because there's only 90 of these pens. So I'm going to cover the parts of the pen. I will do a writing sample, and then I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it. And first of all, a very kind thank you to Carlo for sending me the pen. I appreciate it. Let's get started. Okay, so here we go with the Ensso Piuma in the very nice material by Jonathan Brooks, but let's first have a look at the box. So it has a little cardboard outer sleeve, then you have a magnetic closure, there's the pen condom, there is a cartridge, and then there is a converter in there as well. Simple box, I like that. I'd much rather have a nice pen than a super ostentatious box. Okay, here we have the pen right next to a Pilot Metropolitan. As you can see, they're pretty much the same length, but the Piuma is girthier. This is a pen made out of Jonathan Brooks's primary manipulation 4 material. These have a 14 karat gold Bock nib in fine, and it looks like, from what I can see in the website, you don't have a choice beyond fine, so it's fine nibs only, but they are all 14K. Converter is supplied, as is one cartridge, and you can use it as an eyedropper filled pen. I'll show you that in just a second. Limited edition, 90 pens, and these come in at $295 US. But remember, Holidays 2022, that gives you a 20% discount. That would make it ... 236. Okay, so top of the cap, same material as the rest of the pen, and it is a very attractive material, I must say that. So solid piece for the cap, no clip, no roll stoppers, nothing. Then we have the barrel, tapers down, and at the end, same material again. So it's a simple design, but these are the Ensso pens typically are fairly minimalist pens, so that's kind of what they were going for. Unscrew the cap, and then you have this, what I think is a very nice section, tapers down and then flares out a little bit with this lip, and for some reason I really like this cap lip. I don't know why, it's probably very strange, but it looks to me like it flares out this way and then it flares out that way, so it's a very nice ridge. It caught my eye, and I really liked it. I know that's very weird and probably a strange thing to say. This nib is a little misaligned. That is not on Ensso, that is on me. I had pulled it just right before the video, so don't think it was that way. It came out of the box perfectly fine. Just want to point that out. That was 100% me. Okay, 14K 585. The nib also has Ensso. You can't really see that. I have my ink in it, and it definitely got caught, and because of the orange dye in that, it looks a little gunky. But there is an actual engraving with the name Ensso on it. I'm only making it worse, sorry. And it also says USA. So it's gold nib, and then I think these are, I want to say, ABS feeds that Bock uses. Number 6 nib. I know that everybody wants number 8 nibs now, but I think that for this pen, number 6 looks nice and in proportion. I think number 8 would be a bit big. Okay, nice comfortable section. It's a decently sized pen. It's not huge, it's not tiny. I think it's a nice size for many people. And if you want to, you can post the cap. Be a little careful though. I'll come back to that in likes and dislikes. It is pretty thin material, and I can actually, it's not bending, but what do you call that? Like actually compress it a bit with just my fingers. Okay, so cartridge converter filled, as I said, has a nice simple Schmidt converter that comes with the pen. Ample room to apply some silicone grease if you want to eyedropper the pen, and there is a rubber O-ring, at least I'm assuming it's rubber, I actually don't know, but there is an O-ring in place, so that should help with leakage as well. Eyedropper filling is not really my thing, but I know that some people really love it. And there you have it. So, attractive material. Again, I'll try to make that catch the light a bit. The chatoyance in this is really, really nice. Look at the shiny bits. It is a very, very attractive material, I think. Let's have a look at how it writes. New page. Did you already do a writing sample? Yes, I did. And then the video file did not save properly and I had to start over. Love it when that happens. Okay, Ensso. I'm going to write without pressure because I'm trying to make a point, and pardon me, I will zoom out a bit so you can actually see what I'm doing. Ensso Piuma. This is the 14K fine, and the ink is B.R.E. brown. The nib is certainly fine, but as you can see, it's very, very dry. This is not something that is an Ensso issue. I've experienced this with a lot of B.R.E. nibs. So when I write without any pressure, so this is really me letting the pen write under its own weight, which is negligible, it's a very light pen, exerting no pressure whatsoever, you get a very, very skinny line because this nib is very, very dry. If I exert some pressure, just a little bit, I wouldn't normally write with this amount of pressure, but just to give you an idea, if I were to make this nib a little bit wetter, I would want it to write like this. Now, different people have different preferences, of course, but I would certainly want it to write like that, and I think this is a nice fine. This is very skinny, almost an extra fine. In fact, I think this is an extra fine. Fast writing, again, with no pressure. You see how light the ink is that comes out, and that's because that nib is just so incredibly dry. So that is certainly something I would fix. It's not very difficult to make a nib drier, wetter, but for me it would have to be done because, again, this is under no pressure. This is really not doing it for me. With a bit more pressure, you get a much nicer level of wetness out of it. Okay, line variation is actually quite nice, always very careful, but as you can see, I'm really not exerting a whole lot of pressure, and as you can see, you definitely get quite a bit of line variation out of it. Not a flex nib, none of that nature, but it is certainly possible. Have a bit of fun with that. Okay, final thing, reverse writing works pretty well. Gets a little bit scratchier, in this case pretty much the same width, but that's because it is already so dry. If I were to write with a bit of pressure, you can see it, you can definitely get a slightly finer line out of it upside down. And that's all there's to it. So I think what we need to discuss is likes and dislikes. Let's do that now, and let's have a look at the material one more time. All right. What do I like? What do I not like about this pen? Well, there are a lot of things I like. I do believe the material is gorgeous. I'll show you this again. It is very attractive, and colors, they're not for everyone. Some people just like black pens with gold trims, and that's fine too. You're just wrong. So this is a very nice, very colorful pen. I made a joke. I have to say that because otherwise people could be like, hey, but I like black pens and that is completely normal and you should not say that, you're etc. So this is a very colorful pen, and I think it is actually very nice. The material is beautiful. Jonathan Brooks, whatever he does, however he does it, whatever kind of magic he uses, it ends up with a very, very attractive material. So that I really like. I also like that it has a gold nib. Gold nibs certainly do drive up the price a bit, but you do get a gold nib, which is very nice. The writing experience often is very nice. As I said before, this particular nib is really on the dry end, but 14K nibs are really pretty easy to tune a little bit. You can send it to any nibmeister, but there are also many videos online on how to do that. Making something wetter is really not that difficult. So that's what I will be doing after I end this video. I like that it has an eyedropper capacity, although I don't like eyedropper pens typically. I know I have a couple one-way shutoff valves, but those have a one-way shutoff valve. Eyedroppering, it makes me nervous. I have certainly been in a situation where accidentally the barrel was unscrewed and a lot of ink came out, and I have ink on my fingers because I twisted and turned that and it nearly flew out of my hands. That's what I'm saying. So if that would have been an eyedropper pen, that could have been a disaster. Okay. You do have a cartridge converter option though, if you prefer that. I certainly would, but to each their own, as the kids say. Okay, it is certainly well made. Everything is nice and smooth. I don't really feel any sharp edges or anything. I like that lip near the end of the section. Very comfortable to hold. You can post it, and that works pretty well. It's not the tightest of posting I've ever used, but it certainly can be posted. So all of that is great. Things I don't like so much. Like I said, the nib was very, very dry. I wouldn't blame that on Ensso though. It certainly writes. It's just, this is a BOK thing. I've experienced this with a lot of BOK nibs, and that out of the box they can be very, very dry. And again, that's a relatively easy thing to fix. It's also not said that they're all dry. This particular one though is definitely very dry. The pen is very light, so you have to like that. If you like a heavier pen, this is definitely not for you. You barely feel that you're holding anything, and that's not an exaggeration. So that is something to take into account. And I will say I find the cap in particular feels very thin. If I squeeze this, you can actually see it bend a bit. So I would be careful with it, especially with posting. There is no center band, there is nothing to dissipate the pressure. So be a bit careful. Don't over tighten it, and just be a little careful. That's all I'll say. There is no clip. That is an aesthetic decision, and that's how the Pumas look, and that's fine. I do like clips, if nothing else, simply because then the pen won't roll off a desk, and this is certainly roly-poly and very easy to just fly off something. There's also no roll stop or anything. All of that is fine. What that does mean is that you get a very nice, unbroken view of the pattern of the pen, and given that this is a very pretty material, I do like that. It's also meant to be a bit of a minimalist pen. That's what a lot of the pens from Ensso are like. So I get that. I would love it if there would be an option for a clip, even if that would be a shove-on clip or something like what Kaweco does. I personally would like that, but I may be the only one. Okay, final thing. $295 is certainly not cheap, but it is a special resin made for the pens. It does have a gold nib. It is a limited run of pens. There's only 90, which is actually limited. So in light of all that, as always, you have to make up your own mind as to whether that is worth it to you or not. I do see that there are some things going on here that would certainly drive up the price. And it's a nice pen. It's really, really attractive. This is a conversation starter pen for sure. So in light of all that, I think it's quite nice. Don't forget, if the price is a bit of a bother, that the Holidays 2022 discount code does give you a 20% discount. 20% is quite a bit. So maybe that will pull some people across the line, as they say. I hope this was useful. A kind thank you to Ensso for sending me this, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye!